Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the body of a grade 10 pupil has been discovered at Hoërskool Garsfontein in Pretoria. The school security made the shocking discovery on the rugby field. Education officials are there now, and that's where we also find Moloko Moloto. Moloko, I understand the briefing has already started.
But what I've urged them to do is that they should not...
That is very true, Masewe, and maybe let's just throw the mic. The MEC is briefing the media.
Because this situation really affects even the community itself, you know, and that's why it's important that we really put these cases quickly to bed so that we allow progress to move forward. So that's what has happened with Elena. So both the parent, she was at home at 12 midnight. They went to sleep. She slept out. Of concern is the excess, you know. I will speak with the principal and the deputy principal and the SGBS to really, you know, it can't be that she was just here. She should have gained an entrance somewhere, and that's where we should start. And if there's any video footages, I do believe the school has got maybe some form of cameras, we're hoping, that can assist in trying to understand what could have happened. My plea is that I hope there's no foul play.
All right, MEC Matome Chilwani, thank you so much for your time. This is Moloko Moloto. You are live on eNCA. Maybe for the benefit of our viewers, if you can just paraphrase the circumstances behind the discovery of this body. When was this body discovered? Who discovered it?
Yes, thank you. The body was discovered this morning in the early hours around about 8 o'clock by the staff from the school. Initially they called paramedics, and later on it was declared that the child is deceased. It's a grade 10 girl learner from the school. She was initially, the parents tried to report her missing when the call came in that there is a scene, and when police came they confirmed that that is the child that the parents were trying to report missing. As I've said earlier, 12 o'clock midnight, according to the mother, she was still at home. So in between 12 midnight and 8 a.m. when she was found, we don't really know what happened. And how did she gain entry, we don't know. But I'm sure that the police will put maximum focus and attention to the case to ensure that we resolve it. So we will be continuing as a department to give support to the learners. We'll dispatch our psychosocial unit to be on standby when schools open, because currently it's recess, so there's no learners at the school in any way. So post the recess, we'll send through our team to speak to the learner population, including the educators, because everybody needs support in such a situation.
MEC, I understand that you had a briefing with the police, the station commander standing beside you, and he apparently says this is an unnatural death. Do we have details around that? Perhaps could she have been violated sexually one way or the other? Do we have any idea of what could have transpired?
Look, the only way we can get those answers is after the post-mortem. That's when we get a confirmation. Fortunately, of late, I know that the reports come very quickly. Within 24 to 48 hours, we should be able to know what could have happened to the learner if there was some form of violation to the learner. I don't want to speak to too much detail because I don't want to jeopardize the case of the police.
Understandably so, but looking at the school itself, it seems to be secure. I see there's an electric fence. There's also a security guard who's manning the entrance there. I'm not too sure if the police managed to go around the school to see if perhaps there was a forced entry elsewhere. Have you spoken to the security guard? What exactly did he see before or even after discovering the body?
No, I've not spoken to this, but what I've asked is, they say they don't know, they don't know how the child would have gained entry, but the child gained entry. That's the point, and that's for the police to really find out together, to find out as they investigate the matter. How did the child gain entry? Are there possible footages? As you are right, the school seems to be very secure. What are the possible footages that can show that perhaps the child gained entry there? Is there possible foul play? So that's all going to be investigated. So that matter is in the police section matter now. For us is to get the learning and teaching going, and to ensure that we really support our learners and educators to ensure that the school progresses normally.
And let's speak to that, the form of assistance, as much as that you will give to the learners here. I'm sure the news is probably reaching them and they are still on recess. What form of intervention will be provided from the department's point of view, both to the learners, the teachers as well, but also to the parents?
I was also speaking to the police. They also said they will work with our psychosocial. They've got a trauma unit as well. So both of them will combine our efforts to ensure that we support our. So it's going to be a combination, and obviously post the post assessment, we'll know what else can we do. Should we draw in other sister departments to come in and assist or not? But so far, this is what we're going to do as a first point of intervention. We do make every time we have an incident such as this one. Yes.
Maybe in conclusion, MEC, of course, this is a reflection of the society we live in, as some would argue, and schools being located in communities and societies. Generally, how is the situation across the schools in Gauteng? We continue to hear about learners themselves stabbing one another. What role do you think ought to be played by communities in situations such as this?
Firstly, I think mental health is a big issue in our society, and I think that that's where we need to start. We need to, I always say to the officials that we need to have an understanding of every learner. When we say learner profiling, we're not trying to say we want to control learners, but we need to know, what are the challenges with the learner. Once at a particular period, there must be some form of engagement with particular learners so that we know if there are possible changes in behavioral patterns. Is there possible, what could they be brought to support those particular learners? So that's what they've been doing throughout, mostly in our schools. But obviously, school is not immune to the community. A school is a reflection of its community. That's what it is. If the school is in chaos or is not correctly run, you must know that the immediate community is the problem. If there are gangsters in schools, in learners, you must know there are gangsters just outside the school gate. And that's how it is. That is how it's always been. So we are putting efforts in place. We are putting a lot of interventions in place. We are recruiting patrollers across to our obviously high-risk schools. This is not a high-risk school. I wouldn't consider this as that. There are high-risk schools where really we need to beef up security. We need to beef up interventions. We need to beef up our psychosocial support. And that includes to many aspects. There's a problem of bullying in our schools, and that's where mostly we find our children. It affects learner participation in the school. It even gets to a point where some learners have gotten to a point of committing suicide because of that. So we are also looking into that. We have put interventions in place that schools assist us to bring out those bullies. In our schools, we'll be rolling out the bullying boxes, where learners anonymously just write a name and drop it in, and then we'll be able to get those learners, not to punish them, but to see how can we assist them to really deal and convert their thinking, to make them realize that bullying is not a way, it's not a form. So we will be doing that. So there's a lot of intervention that we're putting in place because it's really a big issue.
Thank you so much for your time. The MEC for Education in Gauteng, Mr. Matume Shilwane. Masego, this is the school that is located in one of the eastern suburbs in the capital city of Pretoria, in Garsfontein. It's a high school here. This body of the teenager was found this morning within. I'm just going to ask my colleague Teddy to show you where the body was apparently discovered. As you can see, this tape by the police, and we are told that this is a grade 10 learner. And what is strange is that this is a school where security is very tight. I mean, at the gate there is a security personnel who I presume is stationed there 24 hours, but also around the school there's a security electric fence which would make it very difficult ordinarily for a teenage girl to jump over. Many questions clearly need to be answered, and unfortunately the police isn't, or the station commissioner who is here isn't willing to speak to us due to protocol issues, but also the governing body representative here saying that she's not permitted to speak, and the parents or the family of the deceased young girl is not here. We understand that the MEC will be going there. But the whole issue of security around this school obviously will come under scrutiny. We understand we have actually seen some of the CCTV cameras, particularly around this playground. And as the MEC said, the body was discovered this morning here at the school. Marcel.
All right. All right, Moloko Moloto, live for us in Garsfontein, that is in the city of Tshwane.